Yes, welcome everyone here to the Smash Sports Show right here on Smash FM. We're out here on location here at the Sun Basketball Centre here in Cheltenham, getting ready for tonight's week 16 of the Big V season. But let's go across over to our friends over in Perth in particular and speak to the Southside Demons. Of course, they play in the Western Australian Netball League competition. And of course, we've got a very special guest joining us right now to tell us a bit about how she's going and her team in particular going throughout this 2021 season. She joins us right now. Thanks so much for joining us.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me. So, yeah, it's been a bit of a rocky start to the season with our old mate COVID rearing its head again. So we were finding a bit of form. We had a couple of wins in a row, which was really nice, and building that momentum. And then we went into our week and a half lockdown. So we have a game tonight. So very keen to pick up where we left off, really, and hopefully we can keep that momentum going.
So before I ask my next question, I might as well get you to introduce yourself and tell us what position. We'll see you on the court later tonight.
Sure. So I am generally a goal attack. I'm Nikala Smith and I'm from Southside Demons. So I'm a co-captain with Chanel Gomez and Tegan Phelps is our vice captain, and yeah, playing in the WANL League over in WA.
Now tell us a bit about how's the preparations been like? As you mentioned, you just had a very short lockdown about a week and a half ago. How's that been like getting back into it again for the second or third time now?
Yeah, I must admit, like it is really challenging, both mentally and physically, because you are constantly just trying to keep your body in that physical state, which, you know, there's no better training when you're training with your teammates and, you know, pushing yourself to those limits. And when you're doing it by yourself, it's just not as effective. And it feels like just as you're about to get into that momentum and really build on your fitness, then we go into lockdown again, and it really kind of puts you behind a little bit. So fortunately, it's even across the board. Every team is going through the same experiences in lockdown. I really feel for athletes, though, that, you know, are really professional athletes and that they really need to be at their peak at all times. So it has been really challenging. However, as I said, everyone's in the same boat. And tonight we will we've had our first training session the other night and just trying to build and grow and, take what we had going into the last few games and bringing that into this game, because it's a really important game for us to have a win tonight.
Nervous about tonight, considering obviously you haven't played in a while?
A little bit. We had a bit of had to dust off some cobwebs on Wednesday night. So we started off a little bit shaky, but then we found our groove again. And I think potentially might be the same tonight for both teams, is that just finding that rhythm and getting back into that netball style that you play. And I'm sure will only take a couple of minutes before we start getting back into routine and just, doing what we do best, and that's playing netball.
Now, you might as well tell us a bit about, I guess, the season so far and, I guess, couple players we should watch out for.
Yep, so we're about halfway through the season. So it is really, really, really tight competition this year. So the ladder is constantly changing because I reckon the top 6 teams, anyone can beat anyone. So one person that beat one team one week will lose to another team the other week, but then that team will beat the team that they lost to. So it's this constant even playing field, so anyone can win on any given night. I'm going to go with some players to look out for from our team. Probably our shooter, Meg Gallagher. She's a big young gun up in the goaling circle. So she has been a really big target for us. And also our other co-captain, Chanel Gomez, in defence. She's unstoppable with her really long arms and just her ability to read the play.
Now, you must tell us who your opponent is tonight, and how have you fared against them already this season?
Yep. So my opponent tonight is likely going to be Jess Penny. She's been in the league for a very long time, and she's a very great athlete. So always have a good battle with her. Previously with the team, the East Rio Sharks that were playing tonight, we did have not our best game. It was probably one of the worst performances that we've put out. So we are really keen to make amends on that. and come away with the win tonight. I think we're completely capable. And as I said, we've got some good momentum. So I think we'll go in with a real fighting chance.
How many games have you got left in the season? And I'm assuming that you're in a pretty good shape to making finals.
So, yeah, we have about 7 games, I think it is, left. So we're about halfway. We're probably just outside of the top 4 at the moment. But we have complete potential to make it. So, as I said, anyone can win on any given day. So we just need to make sure that we have a really strong finish to the end of the season. And then there's no reason why we can't be in that top 4.
Tell us a bit about your amazing coaches out there at the Demons.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of people might be familiar with Josie Jantz. So she's former West Coast Fever player. And she was one of my teammates when I played with Fever as well. So it's really nice to have a familiar face coaching us, which is extremely knowledgeable in the sport. And then we also have Emma Beckett, who is a former Perth Orioles player and West Coast Fever player. And again, one of my teammates from a very long time ago. So it's really nice to have a strong lineup to look after us, because they're really great at what they do. And we have a lot of great support staff as well that keep us on court and give us all their knowledge, which is great.
Now, how did you get involved in netball and why did you choose it?
Yeah, so we're going a long way back now. So I just got involved with it because of school. My sister started playing and I want to be like her. So I was tall. So then I just had the opportunity to play and start quite young. And mum used to always play as well. So that's really why I started. And I think because I was naturally quite good at it, I didn't want to stop, because if you're good at something, then you just want to keep doing it. So that's, why I started and why I keep playing today.
Now, you mentioned what position you play on the court at the start. If you had a preferred position, we would like to convince your coaches to put you, where would that be? And here's your chance before tonight's game.
Absolutely. I've always thought I'd want to be a centre. Like, a lot of people are scared of the hard work, but I just like running. So I'm always waiting for the call up, but I just don't think I'll ever get it.
Now, what will be some highlights throughout your netball journey so far?
Well, for me, I'm probably coming to the end of my career. I've played since I was 16 professionally, so it's been a very long time. The highlights would be, traveling around Australia and New Zealand, being, playing against in the ANZ Champs competition, underage Australian, and also just in the WA League, having some really great grand final wins. So they're probably been my highlights. For me, just getting through the season will be a highlight, because I have been out of the game for some time and have just come back this year. So really keen just to make it to the end of the season and still be in one piece at the end of it.
What does it mean to you to be co-captain? And tell us a bit about the friendship and, I guess, the teamwork that both you and your co-captain has had.
Yep. So, I was really stoked to be asked to be one of the co-captains. We had our team vote, which was really nice. And but like, as I mentioned, I've kind of been out of the game for some time. And so I think it's really important for me to be able to share as much knowledge and pass on as much knowledge as possible to the up and coming players coming through. So that's what was, what I guess really brought me back to the game after being away for some time, and as a captain, to try and lead in a way, not just, on court, but off court as well, and implementing, routines and things like that to make sure that, the mental side of the game as well is being looked after.
Now, what does the sport of netball mean to you, and especially being a Southside Demons?
Yep. So I think, like a lot of people, just love the sport. I think it's grown so much over the years, and it is just a really great outlet for you to, have fun and have fitness, and then also have a really good time with your mates. So it brings people together, and who doesn't love netball? It's just getting so fierce these days and competitive, and it's exciting to watch. And they're making little tweaks to the game, which, was also really exciting. So I think, the game will just continue to grow and evolve in a really positive direction.
Now, do you have any future ambitions in the sport of netball, other than winning a premiership for the Demons?
No. So that's a bit of a sad answer, but I'm, mid-30s now, so I'm ready to retire, I think, soon enough. Back if you had asked me 10 years ago, then yes, definitely I would have wanted to have played for Australia and represented my country. But for me now, I just play because I enjoy the sport, and I would love to win the premiership with Demons to finish on. But yeah, for me, it's just the joy and having fun doing the sport that I love.
Now, what would be your advice to people in WA that should get involved in netball, and especially come to watch your mighty Southside Demons in action?
Yep. So obviously we always love it. Well, we can't actually have a crowd tonight, but in general, we love to have as many people come down as watch as possible. And my advice would be just to continue to have like that growth mindset. So always taking on feedback from your coaches. If you do come across any obstacles, making sure that, that's not your setback. It's just, a different detour than what you were planning, and just having a really good attitude when you're on court, which I think is really important.
Now let's finish on with a couple of light-hearted questions about your teammates. Firstly, who had the most embarrassing moment on court this season, and what was it?
I know, there's been a couple, I guess. I'm just trying to think of them. So I know for myself, like, it was a bit silly, like there was a call and I didn't hear that it was an advantage call. So I just started, my player threw the ball and I caught it on my back and started running with the ball. And then I got pulled for stepping. So that was pretty embarrassing because I didn't hear the umpire with the decision.
Who's the comedian in the team?
Probably one of the funnier moments that I can think of is like every morning, before every session, we'd have like just a check-in with everyone to see how they're feeling and what they're doing. And one of the girls, Chanel, when it got to her, she said that as she got to training, she got in the car and she sat there for a couple of minutes, and then she realised that she had got in the passenger seat in the back instead of the driver's seat. So it took her a moment to click before she, clued on that, she didn't have a chauffeur driving her and that she had to drive herself and, get out and get back in the front seat. So that was quite hilarious because we don't know how that could have happened.
Who's the best singer and dancer on the team?
I'd have to probably say Josie, our coach. She's the best dancer. She's now heavily pregnant, but she still is able to pull some really great moves.
On the team into their TikToks?
Not that I know of. No, we're not a very socially active team on socials. We do have the odd Snapchat. But no one's really into their TikTok that I'm aware of. Maybe I'm too old because I'm not on it myself, but maybe it's something under wraps. I'll have to look into that one.
Now, do you have a pre-game superstition or ritual?
I do like to make sure that I feel clean. So like I need to shower and shave and just make sure that I'm, clean and ready for the game. I do like to do a lot of mindset work before I play. But I think as I've gotten older, like I try to have as little superstitions as possible, because if they don't go to plan, then I worry that I'm going to have a really bad game. But I used to always have to wear the same underwear, have a ribbon in my hair, eat the same food. Like I would have a real rigid kind of process, which isn't always helpful.
On top of that, does the team have like a pre-game tune to hype the team up before a game?
We have a playlist on Spotify. So we have our Demons pre-game music, pre-game beats, and that really gets us revved up before a game. So the biggest problem is just making sure that someone brings a speaker to the game, which 99% of the time we nail. So that's really, really good.
You mentioned about the most embarrassing moment. Any funny or strange moments that's happened before, like by your team or the opposition?
The only kind of funny moment I can think of is one of the girls walked all the way to the change room, and when she got there, she realised that her dress was tucked into her leggings, into her underwear, and just flashed everyone on the way to the change room, and then did the exact same thing, a week later, which was quite funny because it's not ideal.
Now we'll finish up with this one last one. Now, which is, what have you learned from the sport of netball throughout your netball journey? Is there one thing that you've learned that, in netball that you take into your normal day-to-day life?
Yep. So definitely trying to implement, or becoming more self-aware. So implementing, recognizing when you're having unhelpful thinking styles, because they transfer into your day-to-day as well. So as a player, I can be and still am at times really hard on myself. And so my biggest piece is, not taking the game so seriously, and being kinder to myself, and then that transferring into my personal life as well.
Well, thank you so much for giving up your time to join us. Obviously, before your game tonight, and obviously before our broadcast game tonight, and obviously best of luck tonight for the Demons, and let's hope it all goes well with the resumption of the season and in the Western Australian Netball League, and let's hope it all goes well for the Demons, and hopefully we'll get you back on the show a little bit later on in the season.
Awesome. Sounds great. Have a great night.
No worries. And of course, if you want to get down there to support the mighty Southside Demons, of course, we'll put all the details up on our Facebook and social media page on how you can get involved down there at the Southside Demons. There's more on the Smash Sports Show right after this. Don't go away here on the Friday edition.